here, and maybe Christy, out this door, that door, the bathrooms, and so, and then they're out in the foyer out there. So, okay. Just a quick reminder: please turn off your cell phones. If you would please. We also we're going to be taking some questions from the audience tonight, and Keith Sattler over here will be gathering those throughout the evening. If you have one for him, or at the break, if you have one, you can gather those up, and then we'll be kind of going through those, because there could be some duplicates, and see how we can combine some thoughts to get a few questions out for everybody. So everybody will come back at the end here. We're allowing hopefully about 20 minutes for those some of those questions. It might only be 2 or 3 or 4 questions that we have time for, but we hope we can get a little more information out to the community on some of those topics. Candidates, I'll remind you that we have about 2 minutes that we've allotted for the answers to the questions. Julie down here is our timekeeper, and she's going to flash you the 30-second mark. And then when you see the X, you should be pretty much wrapped up. Okay? We don't have the switch to turn your mic off, but so we'll appreciate your cooperation on that part of it. And I think with that, the only thing that I'll just kind of mention, with all the things going on in the world right now, there's a lot of turmoil, and inside our own country as well. And when I drive through Crossroads, I don't see that turmoil. Okay, we have a great community. We live in a great part of the country, and I think if we keep that in mind as we kind of work through some of this, we really do have a great deal going on here. I remember, and I think the sign's hanging in Melinda's office down there at Historic Crossroads, and it truly is a pleasant place with pleasant people. So let's keep that in mind. So with that, we're going to go ahead and get started. Unless there's anything else we're all good, okay? We're going to start with the port commissioner positions, and we are going to alternate the questions. So, for example, Christy, if you go first on this one, you'll go second on the next question, okay? So we'll just kind of alternate through that. Same with the other positions, we'll just kind of rotate through as we go through those. So Christy, we will start with you. And the first question, and everyone should have copies of the questions and the agenda, but I'll just kind of read them so everyone knows. Tell us about your background and experience that qualifies you for the position of port commissioner.
All right, thank you. Thank you for having me here tonight. First, I want to share with you it's my education, my broad work and life experiences that have prepared me to be in this position I hold as port commissioner. In 2021, I competed for and earned the appointment to the Port of Benton Commission based on my skills and professional background, both in energy and education. I have served as the president of the commission for the last 2 years. I just completed my tenure as president of Tri-Cities Sunrise Rotary, one of the largest rotaries in Richland, in Tri-Cities, where I've been a member for 17 years. I've served on numerous boards over the years, including My Friend's Place, Safe Harbor Support Center, and Rural Families Education Fund. I live and model service above self. I'm a product of the Mid-Columbia region. We moved here in 1963. My dad had the opportunity to be a pipe fitter apprentice for UA Local 598. He lifted us from poverty. We lived in a small farm in West Richland. My parents believed in equal opportunity chores. I moved hand lines, cared for large animals when there was no water out in the crowd. We had to carry it every morning before school. They instilled in us a really important work ethic and integrity. 4-H was my foundation as a youth. I was in a foreign exchange program. I lived in Japan with a family, and it really broadened my view of the world. As I attended Central Washington University, I kind of dipped my toes into politics, and I served as an intern for the Office of Governmental and Corporate Affairs. It was quite fascinating and really propelled me along to know that I needed to practice civic duty as I earned my business degree. My husband's profession landed us in Thailand for a year in Bangkok, which further broadened what I know and understand of the world, and boy, do we live in a great country. I returned to Richland and got my bachelor's in education. I followed it by a master's degree in education. I worked in public and private education for 20 years as a principal, including a boarding school in Austria. Then I returned to my training roots in 2017, and I worked at the Hanford site, and I'm now at Energy Northwest. You could say I've rounded the horn from cleanup to clean energy.
Okay, Christy, thank you. Good job. Thank you for inviting us. Beautiful high school. God, unbelievable. I had not seen it. My career started with the Port of Benton in 1989. I was hired as the assistant director, airport manager. And I was, I think, involved in the first balloon rally. So that's, 34 years ago, something like that. And I was, the Hope Sellers and Chucker Cherry were just starting. For the next 13 years, I was the assistant director, airport director, and in 2002, I was promoted to the executive director, and I was the executive director for 17 years. I retired in 2019. Over those 30 years, Prosser basically became my second home. I was here a lot. We went through a lot of things. We had one in food park, we had Vintners Village, we had the airport, which was very important. The lands that are purchased by the port, the Bryson Orchard, the Walter Clore Wine and Culinary Center, which we're going to talk about a little bit later. But I am qualified. I know the port, I know the economic development business really well. I've got a professional port manager certification. I have a degree in economics. I've got a little bit of background in real estate and insurance. And I hope you will vote for me, and I will promise that we will help with the help of Lori Stevens. We will bring Prosser back into on the agenda of the Port of Benton.
Thanks, Scott. Next question, economic development. What strategies do you propose to enhance economic development through the port while ensuring job creation, local business growth, specifically included Prosser in its downtown core? Scott, we'll start with you.
Okay, is it the strategy question? I've got a hard time hearing. Economic development? Okay, first of all, okay, I got it. First of all, priority number one, get the Walter Clore Center opened up to the public. It's sitting there. I understand the COVID situation, but it's been 2 years and it's been sitting there empty. Not empty, it's been WSU Tri-Cities has a little bit of stuff going on and very, very little. The pavilion building is beautiful. It needs to be leased out either to a winery or somebody else that can utilize it. All underutilized assets. The port got $4 million from the state and $4 million from the federal government to build that building with the agreement they would keep that building open to the public to showcase the history of Washington wines. It needs to be open for the tourists that come through here and the public that want to go through and find out how the Washington wine industry got started, how the wine grapes came, the latitude of France and Prosser area, and the soils that are here. That's priority number one. Number two, I want to keep the airport very viable. I want to make sure things go there. We have a lot of land. We've got the Bryson Orchard that's developable. It's a beautiful site. We've got still Vintners Village 2, which has 4 or 5, maybe, I don't know how many lots left, maybe 10. There's a piece of property across the street from that, the Bulky property. There's just a lot of things that can be done that hasn't been done in the last 2 years. Prosser's not on the agenda for Port Benton right now. It's in North Richland, and Benton City and Prosser are not on the agenda. So I'm going to leave it at that. Thank you very much.
Christy, go ahead.
All right, thank you. First of all, I assure you, Prosser and Benton City are on the agenda and on our strategic plan. We're specifically focusing on supporting Prosser and its downtown core, and that kind of includes our commitment to collaborating with the community and offering planning efforts and enhancing the growth and development of the area and its creative district, which I am super excited about. I attended that meeting the other day. Being innovative and supporting our local small businesses is just plain good business. Moreover, we remain dedicated to facilitating the land sales within Vintners Village, which is a vital part of the strategy to foster economic development and promote local businesses and tourism in Prosser. We're excited about Greenberg joining Vintners Village. I have this vision that there'll be a nice biking path or walking path from downtown Prosser out to Vintners Village, so we can really connect the two of them and have that synergy. And the Creative Arts District is connected to downtown, which is connected to Clove, and which is connected to Vintners Village. And then we can expand that to be connected to Benton City, looking at a Creative Arts District, Richland, Kennewick Creative Arts District, because that's really where you get the synergy. We have on the agenda for next tourism season, the cruise ships that we have coming into our community now in Richland will be coming up here on buses a couple days a week to visit not only Vintners Village, Walter Clore, Checker Chairs, but also the downtown area, and they've already been in talks with all of you here. So those are some super exciting opportunities that we have coming up, and we'll continue to work those strategies with engagements, communication, expanding across our airports, and just really listening to all of you and taking those things back for partnership to really leverage the economic development connections we have in our community around government, business, TriDec. When we get a lead, we want to make sure we find the right fit for it. It might be your community, it might be Benton City, it might be Kennewick, but we want the right synergy that's going to help us all grow.
Awesome, thank you. Our next question is around collaboration and partnerships. What kind of partnerships do you think are essential for the port's success? How would you go about establishing them? Please be specific regarding individual public entities and regional planning groups.
The key to success in economic development is partnerships and partners together. The city, the port, the chamber, the Economic Development Association, the Downtown Historical Prosser Museum. There's other entities that can be involved in making sure that things get done. And the more partners you have, the more thoughts that you have going out there every day, that you can go out and possibly get some grants and get some things done as a group. There's a lot more things that are heard through many voices than just one. So, and I know most of these partners. I know John Paul. I've been involved with these for 30 years, and I want to come back and I want to grow again, and I want to see Prosser get back on the agenda.
As your port commissioner, we're actively involved in building partnerships with various entities and organizations and Prossers. I've seen many of you at meetings here and participated with you. These partnerships involve working with the City of Prosser, the EDA, ORPEDA, Benton County, the Chamber, Historic Downtown, community, and businesses. These collaborations are the key to our successes, and we're contributing to various initiatives and projects in Prosser. And here's a quick breakdown of all the different types of partnerships. The City of Prosser, and right now we're seeking to get electric charging stations and we are coordinating with Benton PUD and also with Benton REA. We know that to help Vintners Village thrive in tourism, we need to have some charging stations out there. We got people coming in their Teslas. With PETA, we've been partnering with them, and we're part of the Creative Arts District conversation. We're also actively work to recruit for industry and tourism. And tour boats come along with that, which we're super excited about. Collaboration with the county lends us to opportunities where there might be something that's coming to the county, and we hear about it, and we realize that it's a good match for a grant opportunity or for some sort of matching money for Prosser, and we absolutely share that with you. The Chamber of Commerce, I have had so much fun participating in Chamber of Commerce activities this year and community engagement things. My family has decided they're going to be a permanent fixture in your Prosser State Day Parade. They have more fun throwing candy and waving to everybody than it was probably the best family activity we've had in a long time. There were 14 of us there. Engaging with local community is crucial for gathering input. And when I went to the yoga retreat with Sellers, I had the opportunity to meet some more members. I talked to Julie. I learned about the Creative Art District movement. I had the opportunity to participate in the wine and art gala. What a great community event that just grounds everything around here. It's amazing. Every time I come down here, I'm just thrilled. And so my focus is on these partnerships by showing up and being here and meeting you and meeting you where you are. And these diverse entities, initiatives, they bring a comprehensive approach to fostering economic development, education, community engagement, and tourism in the Prosser area. Collaborating with all of you is key to the success of everyone.
Well, saved by the bell. Good job. Our next question is going to be part of your long-term vision. And Christy, we'll start with you on this one. What is your vision for the Port Authority in the next 5, 10, or 20 years? And what do you hope to achieve, and how are you going to work with Prosser?
Okay. So first, in the next 5 to 10 years, a lot of our focus is going to remain firmly on the development of our rail infrastructure. This doesn't just benefit Richland, but it plays a really crucial role in serving agriculture and value-added agriculture right here in Prosser. By doing so, we aim to facilitate efficient transportation of our local products to global markets, creating opportunities for farmers and businesses. Additionally, I'm really passionate about expanding our industry sector. That's where we really start small businesses and grow them bigger. There are several examples of that, with a particular emphasis on the wine and food park. That is the land of opportunity. We have 30 acres of prime real estate right next to Treetop, and I believe this is an ideal location for industries to thrive. This initiative will not only create job opportunities, right? We want our kids to grow up and stay in our hometown. All 5 of mine live in the Tri-City area, and that's what makes it a great place. But we also want options for people to have jobs that contribute to economic growth, because we know that if there are more jobs, there's more opportunity for small business, and that's just that synergy that keeps going. Furthermore, 20 years from now, I see this as an even more vibrant and resilient town where the downtown is the hub, like the place where everything happens, which I really like how you guys have music downtown. That's one of my favorite parts about being down there. And we're going to invest in technologies to promote clean energy and make this place a showcase for sustainable practices and projects. In 2 decades, I hope to see Prosser as a shining example of community that has embraced clean energy, preserved its agriculture heritage, which is incredibly important, and continued to excel in the wine industry. The Port has an ongoing commitment that this investment will be a driving force behind these positive changes. Because together we can build a brighter future and more sustainable Prosser. And I think, how many people do you talk to that just can't wait to leave their town, but then they leave and they move around and they keep seeking that one place that was so great and they come back home? And we want to have jobs and opportunities for them here, for their families in this thriving school, so that they can come back and be in this community that raised them and that will help ensure that their children have a good future.
So thank you, Scott.
I don't think you'll ever hear that buzzer go off when I'm talking. So, development Prosser. We've got land to develop. We go around, we talk to the small businesses. What do you want us to bring? What would you like to see? What's going to fit in your community? You know, you're the taxpayers. You're the ones who want to tell us how you want your money spent. And as commissioners, we are supposed to give the staff direction on how to approach things. And there's just a ton of land that's available. There's a lot of other opportunities that we could go after. And it's up to the commissioners to at least lead the staff and the executive director on which way to go in their directions. We haven't mentioned, I'm going to get out of the Prosser a little bit, but Crowview Park. We're going to keep Crowview Park. That's a very important part of it. South Central Benton County, those farmers down there pay $250,000 a year to the Port District. And we didn't have anything going on down there. So during my administration, we did a deal with the Corps of Engineers. We got the park. Some people don't. Some people badmouth it. I think it's a diamond in the rough, and it's a jewel, and we're going to keep that. But Prosser, there's land, there's infrastructure, and we need to keep things going here and what you guys want us to do.
Okay, thank you. We're time now for your closing statements. And Scott, we'll start with you. Why would the citizens of Prosser, why should the citizens of Prosser consider you? What makes you the best candidate to guide the Port of Benton, both in the short and long term?
Over the last 30 years, I've called Prosser almost my second home. I've spent a lot of time here. I know a lot of people. I love Prosser. You guys have so much to offer. Tourism's huge. Your industry's huge. Your added agriculture is humongous. We need to keep all those things going and going strong. I see really a good future for Prosser, and I think nothing but the good things can come, and we just need to keep going. Over my 30 years working for the port, or with the port, we did a ton of stuff. And I mean, you can just count it. You can count Vintners Village, you can go, with the Clore Center, Bryson, the Wine and Food Park, the airport. We need to get the airport growing and sustained. It's just, there's a lot of things, and I know I've dealt with a lot of the people in the city, I've dealt with a lot of people in the county, and there's just a lot of things we can do as a partner. So please vote for me. I've got the experience, I know how to lead, and I know how to give direction. So thank you very much.
I don't know, I could probably take you on in competition because I was a high school principal and giving directions. Hurting high school students is a skill above all else. Anyway, I stand before you today as a proud product of a small town, just like many of you. I know the value of close-knit communities, where neighbors support one another, and where every penny counts. With a background spanning education, clean energy, and nuclear, I've demonstrated the skills and experience as your port commissioner. My commitment is clear. I work tirelessly to keep our port fiscally responsible. It's your hard-earned money, and it should be spent wisely. We strive to reduce your taxes while still providing port investment. I believe in a balanced approach to governance where we keep a watchful eye on expenditures, ensuring we're fiscally responsible. We must also invest in our future. I will advocate for investments that strengthen Prosser and our entire district, creating new opportunities for people and businesses to thrive. Whether it's improving infrastructure, supporting local small businesses, or enhancing education, I'm dedicated to enhancing our quality of life. Let us work together to preserve the values that make Prosser, our port district, so special. I ask for your support and your vote so we can continue building a bright and strong future for this community. Together, we're going to achieve many great things. Please vote for me. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Let's give them a big round of applause. Well done. Now we're going to hear from our city council positions, and I really appreciate the three of you taking the opportunity tonight. I know we had some people that had already had some things scheduled out of town. We had some surgery and injuries, so a few people couldn't make it tonight, but we're excited to have. First off, we have Carolina. We're going to go with Kat Orwick tonight, and Anna Kellogg, and Dr. Maricela Sanchez. So we're going to start off with question number one, just kind of your introduction, I guess. And we'll start off with Kat.
Hi. So I'm Carolina, Kat Orwick. Most people know me as Kat in this town. Can you hear us okay? I feel like I was having trouble. Can you hear me okay? So I was born and raised in Grandview, and, well, not born, I was born in Sunnyside. We all know Grandview doesn't have a hospital. I had educators as parents that moved to Washington State to focus on migrant education. My father was a professor at Central, my mother was an administrator at Toppenish for years and years and years, and they just basically instilled a very strong work ethic in me and a really strong community focus, right? Help the people, listen to the people, do what people need, right? I lived and worked in Prosser for 14 years. I raised all three of my children here. I own a business here, a winemaker and co-owner of Wit Cellars. We started that 7 years ago. But what I really want to instill in you is not any of that. It's the fact that, I'm a really great listener. I'm a really great communicator. And I feel like this is what is needed in our town right now. And I feel like there's just, it's essential for good city leadership, right? To listen, to talk, to understand what is happening, what are the issues, how do we find that middle ground, right? And it's talking to the people. And I feel like well, I know that I've been in leadership in all of my jobs for, over 2 decades. This is what I do. Every job I've ever had, I find myself in HR, which is not that fun, I mean, honestly. But it's being fair and listening and feeling out and seeing all the things from all the sides and then making a good decision, educated, intuitive, but also listening. You have to have those things. So I was the first graduate of YBC in Grandview, which was in 2009, the very first program that came out, which I'm a huge advocate for, and I'm still on the board and still on the on the committee to steer the ag tourism BASM degree, which is a bachelor's degree, which YBC offers in Grandview. Do y'all know that? Right? There's things that we need to know in our community, which can still, anyway, there's a lot of stuff. Julie hasn't even told me on Thursday. Okay. Point is that I love our community. I've been here. I chose this city to raise my kids. I chose the city to start a business in. I chose the city because I love it. And there's so much potential, and we have so far to go. And I want to be a part of that.
Anna? Oh, go ahead, I'm sorry.
First of all, I want to thank you guys for coming to this forum. I know we all appreciate you being here. My name is Anna Kello, and I'm running for the City Council position 7. I was raised in Sunnyside, but I lived in Prosser for 14 years, and I do have a small business here downtown on 6th Street. I began working at the Prosser Hospital in 2001 as a per diem employee in the operating room, and eventually became full-time. So I was there, finished my medical career. I retired there in 2022. So about why I feel I'm qualified for this position? Well, if you read my intro statement, you'll see that I was the president of the Ancillary Employee Union for 15 years until my retirement. So I know people feel this area is anti-union, but let me be clear. When I started my position at the hospital, the union had been in place for several years, actually decades. So when the current president moved on, I was asked to take over the position, and I didn't hesitate. So I stepped in and to make the 135 employees in the union's lives better. And we renewed contracts, we increased pay, we fought for better insurance, and there were many times when I represented employees who were unfairly accused, and I helped save their jobs, and that's something I'm very proud of. So I've raised 3 great kids, I have 6 amazing grandchildren, and 3 of them are in the Prosser School District. So I think I have the knowledge of what can make Prosser downtown alive again. And we can still do that by expanding the outlying business areas also. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Hello, everyone. I was born and raised here, and I graduated from the old Prosser High School back in 1998. I come from a family of farm workers, and we all worked in the fields and orchards around Prosser and throughout the Lower Valley when I was growing up. This town offered so many amazing opportunities to my family. So my parents were able to become homeowners here, and their kids were able to get a great education, and we had an excellent experience growing up in this town. As a kid, I was able to walk to school. I was able to ride my bike on my own to go visit a friend or to go to the swimming pool. This is a really close-knit community, and it's one that's always really supported kids and the youth in this town and ensured that kids have a really great quality of life here. So as this town grows, I really want to see that same quality of life continue in this town. I want families who live here now to have the same types of opportunities that my family had here, decades ago. I want to continue to see a Prosser that has beautiful neighborhoods, safe streets, meaning safe enough for kids, safe enough for people of all abilities. And I want to continue to see that our town has neighbors that know each other well and that care about each other and care about this town.
Okay, thank you very much. We're going to go on to question number 2, and priorities and issues is kind of the category. What do you believe are the top 3 issues facing our city? How do you plan to address them if elected? And we're going to start with Anna.
Okay, first of all, I think
Anna, just hold it just a little
Working.
Closer.
Prioritizing, yeah, all right. I could probably do it about it. Prioritizing is something that I think would solve a lot of problems. So pick one thing and finish it. For me, children always come first. So adequate play fields that they can be proud of. Baseball, soccer, football, these all start from the ground up. So you want a great high school football team, it starts with flag. You want a great baseball team, it starts with t-ball. So upgrading things like the tennis courts, maybe even some pickleball courts for little people. But it's all about pride. You know, it's taking pride in your town. So that's, for me, that's number one. Bringing retail back to downtown. By working with PETA, Chamber, Historic Downtown, I think we can upgrade the downtown, maybe shift it up a little bit. And help with businesses that are already there, beautify what they have, and that will bring new businesses into this town. Number three is utilizing properties already owned by the city. So I'm not sure what all the properties Prosser owns, but I would imagine that they can be utilized to bring income in and maybe help with what I'm already sure stretched budget is.
All right, thank you. Marcel?
All right, so top three issues in Prosser. One, I would say housing affordability. The price of homes has really skyrocketed in town in recent years, and people who've grown up here are finding that they may not be able to actually buy a house here. So I'd like to see us reduce restrictions in building homes within town, and we need a variety of homes at a variety of different price points for people to afford. I think it's really important to, as much as we can, build within city limits rather than sprawling out too far to the outskirts. Doing so, we can keep people close to the things that they need. Kids can walk to school and walk to parks. And then the city will save money in the long run because we won't be on the hook for maintaining a lot of expensive new infrastructure. Two is deferred maintenance is a big issue in town. So we can see that in crumbling sidewalks, broken and damaged trees, streets in need of repair, and sewer lines and storm drains that really need some improvements to prevent flooding and property damage. We need to fix and maintain what we have before acquiring more new liabilities in town. Third is street and neighborhood safety. So in speaking with voters, I do hear a lot of concerns about speeding car traffic, prowling, vandalism and theft, and even violent crime in their neighborhoods. There are families who feel like they can't let their child walk to their own bus stop because they don't trust that the child won't get mowed over by a speeding car in the crosswalk. I think that city government has a big role to play in ensuring that our streets are safe by design and not simply by enforcement. So we have 2 police officers on duty in town at one time, and it is impossible for them to be everywhere at once. And so we do need engaged residents and neighbors to really look out for each other and to help keep eyes on the street. I think that when people know each other and they care about each other and they feel accountable for each other, then our whole town becomes safer.
Go ahead, Kat.
It's on me, all right. Well, I think that city government buildings are a big deal in our town at the moment. I feel like helping to find a viable, responsible solution to the needs of the entities that are involved, sustainability for that, keeping in mind the needs of the community as well, which also leads to fiscal responsibility and lots of things that we, need to work on. That also rolls into appropriately supporting the large employers of our city, which are agriculture, healthcare, agritourism, which means supporting and maintaining the needs of this growing community. We are growing, and you see it. We are growing, and we need to be able to sustain these entities that need to be able to support us as a community. Also, improving community outreach, I feel like is a real big deal. Community equals communication, right? So to ensure a thriving community, teamwork is key. So we need to be able to get out there better and be able to somehow find a facet that's going to be able to bring a community together, that this is awesome. But we need more of this, right? We need more of this. We need to be able to be communicating all the time in people's mailboxes. And people, I don't know exactly what that looks like, but I'm willing to work on it. And let's get people, because without you, who are we, right? We want to be on the city council because we want to help our community.
Okay, thank you. Hang on to that microphone, because you're going in first next, Kathy. And you're going to be first. But our question is regarding collaboration and partnerships. How do you view the roles of the Chamber of Commerce, the Prosser Economic Development, and Historic Downtown Prosser Associations, and what role should the city play in their support? PETA brings new business, Chamber brings in tourism, HDP has invested more than $500,000 in B&O tax dollars back into Prosser. How do you see all of them working together to create a sustainable Prosser?
This is a great question. Good job, guys. The Chamber of Commerce does an incredible job, I just got to tell you, promoting tourism in Prosser. It brings so many visitors into our community, which supports our restaurants, our wineries, our breweries, our retail businesses. And John Paul, I gotta give kudos to that guy, because I'm telling you, he's always there to help, no matter what you need. Hey John, I need 25 tables by tomorrow at noon. Can you help me? And he's always there. So, but that is the perfect example of how we should operate as a community and as entities all together, right? That is togetherness. The Prosser EDA, they help to attract new business, but that's also helped many of the existing businesses, which I am one of. Working with us, they helped us with programming and planning, many projects in the Vintners Village. Also, Historic Downtown has amazing programming and does so much for our city, with facade improvements, grants for downtown buildings, and many projects to make our city vibrant. And so many cities don't have these entities. They don't have them. We don't realize that. We're spoiled, honestly. And as the city council, we have to be there for these three organizations for a bright future, and they make our town really great to live and work in. And there's going to be a creative arts district soon too, which will be another entity that the city of Prosser should support, because they are working diligently and hard as a non-profit, all of these, to bring beautiful things into our town and sustain our viability and our beautiful community. So 100%. City council needs to, or the city needs to support these entities.
Awesome, thank you. Marcella, you're going to.
So I served on the board of the Historic Downtown Prosser Association for a number of years, and I really got an insider's view on all of the passion and commitment of the people who are involved in these organizations. These are people who are really strong and engaged citizens. They are passionate about devoting their time to really improve our town. And something that I also saw while serving on this board was, unfortunately, a lack of collaboration at times from our city government, and kind of a resistance to receiving input from these organizations about ways to make Prosser better. I think that we need to really recognize the immense value that comes from welcoming people who are passionate about doing good things. I don't want to see local bureaucracy and red tape prevent wonderful projects from being completed for our town. So I think it would be wonderful to see some more collaboration to really come together, come to a consensus about what our view is for the future of town, and as city government, really ensure that the city facilitates that with all of the wonderful organizations and the great people involved in that. We need to really welcome them in, harness that energy, and not put up walls against that.
Okay, thank you.
I don't even know how to follow all this. But I just think that the city should not only work alongside these three associations with the B&O tax dollars, but the council should consider what they have to say. So it's not a one-way street. Sometimes listening is more important than hearing yourself talk. So that's my little comments.
Awesome, thank you. Okay, we have come to that wonderful part in the agenda of the break. Okay, so we're